You have reached the Geek Elite. Good luck. Mitch and Elizabeth are getting married. We're getting hitched.
We're getting hitched.
There will be no less than 3 things that go wrong, one of which will be major.
And you're not going to be attending unless you're on the list.
Biggest air quotes possible, because perfect is an illusion.
That's right. Mitch and Elizabeth are getting hitched, and we are 29 weeks away from the wedding. Elizabeth, how are you?
Recovering from that number you just provided, but otherwise pretty good.
I mean, we went from 52 to 29 really quick, huh?
Yes, we did. We went very quickly. But I'm super excited because I'm getting to introduce you to the lovely Laura and the awesome Matt.
Is that the official titles? Are those your official titles?
Yeah, I'll take it.
And Laura is one of my bridesmaids and one of my closest friends from law school.
Okay. First, before we get started, we gotta know the story. Laura, how is it that you met Elizabeth?
How I met Elizabeth. Let's see. Some law school. I think you were sitting at the table at the lunch group, and I got invited. Somebody at that table invited me to sit down and have lunch that day, and I think
that sounds about right. Yeah, no, we had a claimed lunch table in the cafeteria in law school.
That was our table.
That sounds about right.
Heaven forbid someone else sit at that table.
No.
It never lasted long if somebody else tried to sit there.
Okay. How long has it been that you two have been married?
Let's see, we were married in September of 2017.
Okay.
Coming up on year number 4.
Yep.
Coming up on year number 4. Now, everybody keeps telling us it all changes once you get married. Does it change when you get married?
No.
It didn't, but the caveats there, we had been dating for a really long time. We'd actually been engaged for
2
years before we got married. And we were actually I think we dated long distance for a while. So it was such a long relationship. I think at that point it was there's no reason for it to change. At that point it's that's what you're doing.
That's fair. So tell us about the engagement. How did that work?
How'd you pop the question, Matt?
So I forget what you were back for.
It was fall break and I had jury duty.
Fall break, that's right. And so
jury duty.
So I flew up. I was in Texas at the time, so I flew up here, and she had jury duty, but she was pretty sure they weren't going to want her because she was a law student. And so she goes in, and I'm not sure when she's going to be out of there, but I'm like, okay, today is the day. What we were planning on doing is leaving from Denver and going to Glenwood. And I'm like, I'm going to ask on our way up there, we're going to stop at Hanging Lake, and I'm going to ask,
And it's a hike, hanging lake. It's in the mountains, and you have to hike up. It's pretty steep, and there's a lake up in the mountains.
Yeah, it's really pretty. You see pictures of it all over the place. And it's a pretty quick hike, but it took her longer than she thought to get out of there. So I'm hauling to get up to so that we can basically beat daylight. And she's like, well, we could always just do it tomorrow. It's no big deal and all this. I'm no, it's good. We're fine. We're fine.
We're going to go right now.
Let's not go to the hotel first. We'll just go straight there. And she's like, all right, fine. So we get out of the car, the whole way up. I'm keep reaching into my pocket to make sure it hasn't fallen out. I'm just and I'm just oh, great. And I think we basically jogged. It's a mile?
Yeah, it's not that far, but it's steep.
Yeah, it's real steep. And I'm jogging up it. I'm yeah, come on, let's go. Because it's getting darker and darker and darker. But we finally made it up there. And we get up there, and there wasn't really anybody else there because it was later. And so I got down on a knee and asked her to marry me. And she didn't say anything. She started crying. And I'm like, and I was pretty sure it was yes, but I was like, you do have to say yes or no. You've got to actually voice that.
You have to answer the question for the record.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's fantastic. Yeah, no, it was. And then she got back after, we all got text messages, and then she got back and we got to see the ring, and it was very exciting.
Very cool. Did you have any indication that it was going to happen that night?
I didn't think so, but I don't know. He was awfully insistent, which made it weird.
And we had gone to find engagement.
Yeah, we had picked out rings, and there was 2 he could have gotten.
Yeah, she knew it was coming eventually. She's just gonna win. So.
Right. Okay, that's very cool.
It wasn't known, but it wasn't a surprise. Is that basically what it is?
Pretty much,
Exactly.
yeah.
It was a known unknown, is what you're saying.
Yep.
So, what about the planning process? Since you had a long engagement, like, what was the planning for the wedding process?
It was, it was kind of nice to have a long time. So I did a lot up front. Like, I picked the venue pretty quick, and kind of all the big stuff I did, venue, flowers, caterer, dress. We did that really fast, but then all the little pieces we didn't really start doing till maybe a year before.
Yeah, that all sounds kind of familiar. We got the venue out of the way real quick.
Yep. You want the venue early.
Yeah.
And that makes it kind of nice, especially if, like, with ours, it wasn't a huge venue. So it was like, this is the amount we can have max. So, caterers and stuff like that, we know the number that's going to show up. Like, it's not going to be, like, way over this or anything.
But they had a gorgeous venue in Golden, Colorado, right? Was the reception?
Yeah.
Up on a hilltop overlooking mountains. It was very pretty.
Oh, that's very
It
cool.
was very DIY place too. Like we had to bring in all the chairs, all the tables, all the linens. Like they didn't have anything. We actually had to. It's a clubhouse, so we actually had to pay people to move the furniture in the building out, so that we could bring our tables in.
Yep. Yeah. No. And no offense to you and no offense to Mary, who's my normal +1. I had the cutest date for their wedding, which was the Honorable Barton.
Baby Weeborg.
Barton Weeborg. Jessica, one of the other bridesmaids' babies.
Oh, okay.
He was like 4 months old.
Yeah, he was tiny. It was great.
He was tiny, but so cute. In a cute little suit and bow tie.
So, what was your, I guess, is it colors, theme? Are those 2 different things?
They are 2 different things, but
I'm still learning. I still don't quite grasp everything. I'm trying to help as much as I can.
Oh, let's see. It was kind of a maroon and orange, and then some rose gold in there too. And then theme-wise, we had a subtle apple theme. We met at Apple, so we had a very subtle apple theme.
You know what? This is a question that I haven't asked anybody on there yet, but what did you give to your wedding party as gifts?
I think I did the jewelry, and I did water bottles to ask will you be my bridesmaid?
yes.
Yep.
And then you did cufflinks.
I did cufflinks, and when I asked them to be, I said, like, super cheapo, like, flasks, just for kind of fun. And, like, a little, just, like, paper. It's like, this is going to be awesome. You better say yes, because you're, like, the only person.
And how many people?
Yeah, they were. It was, they're mostly Avengers, but it was, like, that's, like, there was like one for Thor and Captain America and all this kind of thing. So.
And how many people did you have in your wedding party?
See, I had, what did I have, 6?
6, yeah.
Yeah, and you had 4.
4, yep.
So that's why you ended up walking with a baby?
Well,
Yeah.
no,
Oh.
Inside I walked with Dana.
Oh, okay.
No, but for seating at the head table.
Okay, gotcha. So that's interesting, because I did not give my groomsmen a gift for asking. I just said, hey, you're going to do this.
Yeah. None of them were going to say no. But I was like, hey, we'll send them something at least.
Yeah, I had all these grand plans, and then
yeah, I mean, we were planning on having
2020
a party and telling people then and having them, come do all kinds of stuff. But yeah, we just from the comfort of our homes did nothing.
yeah.
So traditions. That's what we like to ask mostly on this podcast. What are wedding traditions that you adore? Things that you look forward to when you go to a wedding? And it doesn't have to be something like tradition, like just like.
What's your favorite part of the wedding?
What's your favorite part of the wedding?
A good one.
And in conjunction, what's your least favorite, or the thing that people do frequently at weddings that you just can't stand? If that one's easier to answer first.
You know what? Mine is actually the same for both of them, honestly.
Oh, okay.
Because sometimes it's really good and sometimes it's really bad. It's the food. Like, honestly, you get there and it's like, sometimes it's great. It's awesome. Like, honestly, if it is as good as like an average hotel buffet, I'm happy because it's not that bad. But other times you're in there, it's just like, oof, like this is rough,
I'm gonna need to go back and order pizza out of the hotel room.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We went to all day. It was a late night. The reception started late, and then they had like little appetizers. It wasn't a full dinner, and then cake pops, which were the best cake pops I've ever had, but it wasn't like actual food.
Yep.
And we got done at, I don't know, like 11 or something. We left and like had to go find food in New Orleans. In downtown New Orleans.
Luckily it was New Orleans, so that was no problem. Walk around the corner and here's something.
I was going to say, were they the best cake pops you ever had, or were you just really hungry because you didn't have any food?
I didn't know.
They were actually really good. The food they did have, like they had some like jambalaya, and they had maybe like some, like it was all like appetizer kind of stuff. And all of that was really good, but it was just like we were hungry. Like it, they had the wedding. Did we stop in between, or did we go?
I don't know what we did in between. We did something. There was a delay.
I remember what it was. They had lunch at the wedding venue because we ate there.
Oh yeah,
and the reception was later. But it was like through dinner time, and we're just like, oh, okay, we gotta eat.
Please feed us.
Food can make or break, but not a high bar either.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of like the cheesy tradition. I like the bouquet toss, the cake cut. I think is just cute.
Yeah. I tend to like as far as like things they do, like some of the like question games, like like we did the shoe one, but there's all kinds of versions of that. And those where it's just, it's nothing serious. It's just kind of fun. And it's all like opinions. So nobody should get mad about it,
I appreciate that qualifier because I can picture at least a couple weddings I've attended where people have gotten upset by those answers. And you're just like,
oh, yeah.
It's a game. It's supposed to be funny.
I don't think I even know what you're talking about. I don't know about any questions game.
So the shoe game that Laura and Matt did, which is probably the most common one, the bride and groom sit back to back.
Okay. With
one of each shoe. So one of the bride's shoe, one of the groom's shoe. And they ask questions like, who's the better driver? And both the bride and the groom answer. And you see if they disagree or agree. Or who gets up earlier or who's messier. Yeah.
Yeah.
So were these questions all like planned before, or were they submitted by audience or attendees?
Oh no, it's just a game on.
Oh.
We give our DJ a list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's always stuff like that. It's like, who wakes up earliest? Who's more likely to clean the kitchen? Who's a better cook? Like, they're all like,
silly.
Yeah. Like, you don't want to get too serious.
Yeah.
Who never listens in an argument? Okay.
I was going to say, I think the most serious one is normally like, who's the most stubborn?
Yeah.
I mean, that might start a fight at our wedding.
We all know I am. It's fine.
So then I think the inverse of that is that we make up little signs for all the audience members to hold up of saying him and her, and we find out the audience thinks who's.
I really like that.
That is good.
Please reach under your seat to find
Yeah.
the necessary implements for the next game.
So what did, being Elizabeth's friends from college, what did you think of her or finding a guy that you'd never met and saying that she's now engaged and you hadn't met him yet?
I think it's great. I don't know. I watched how happy she is now, and you guys seem like you're a really good fit. And I never had any questions that it was going to be an issue. Sometimes my friends start dating people seriously, and I'm like, what the hell are you doing? This person is totally wrong for you. And I never got there, not even close. So no issues. And
You're
I know a lot of things she would talk about, Mitch, that you do and that you like remind me of Matt. So that was good.
Well, Matt had a Discord, so we're already there. We're pretty close. Like, I get it.
And I'm over here, I'm like, what do we do? What is this?
I'm like, trust me, it's easy. Like, we can figure this out.
Except for the problem was then you left Laura and I, the two of you left Laura and I to figure it out, and neither one of us knows anything about what we're doing.
What do you also, and just kind of a side note, but Laura, what do you also think of Elizabeth having her own podcast now, several of them?
That's pretty sweet.
Right? Sounds like something that she would have never done before.
I know. I'll have to start listening to them now.
That's my whole goal, just to get more people to listen to the podcast. That's why I'm getting married.
I mean, that would explain so much.
It would.
But yeah, I don't know.
What is what's the piece of advice that you would give to us for our wedding day?
Oh, it goes so fast. Like, it was super fun. It was probably the best day of my life, but it went so fast.
I think the thing for me was let people do things for you. If there is no other day in your life where people will do anything you need them to, that's the one. So, like, if you need help with something, like, grab somebody and just be like, I really need you to do this, Like, oh, yeah, I was trying to do my bow tie and, like, kept flubbing it. Like, I'm not amazing at bow ties, but I'm okay. But I kept messing it up. And I was like, Nick, will you go find one of my grooms? And I'm like, will you go find somebody who can tie a bow tie for me real quick? He runs out. The first person he sees is wearing a bow tie. And he's like, Craig, come with me. So down there. It's like, just let people do stuff for you because they will. And, don't stress about it because you're there. You're the one that needs to have fun. So, make sure that you are and eat food.
Yeah, eat food.
This is solid advice.
It's your time to make it happen.
Yeah.
I have, I have another question, and this is one we haven't asked before because this is kind of what's been coming up in our discussions lately. But each of you, what was it? How did your day start that day? And what was the events for you personally up until the moment where you said I do?
Mine was super early because I only had the one hair person and the one makeup person.
We started at 5 a.m., I think.
Yeah, I think I was up at 4:30, and I don't know if I picked up Elizabeth. Did I pick you up from the hotel?
Yes, yeah. You picked me up from the hotel because I had flown in, and so I didn't have a car, and I was the first one for hair.
I think we went to Starbucks, and then we went to the salon and had breakfast there and got started, and then more people came in. Then we made a second Starbucks run.
So much coffee.
So if there was only one hairstylist or hairdresser, do you make the bride the last one to get done so that it's less likely for it to get messed up, or is it the first one so that there's plenty of time?
No, bride.
Right, it's the last one.
Yeah.
Bride's the last one. Okay. That's interesting. So, okay, did that take up most of the day? Is the hair and makeup like up until the deadline?
Yeah, most of it. And then we went back to my parents' house and finished getting ready there. Got into the dresses and ate lunch. And then we went to the church. And then we got married. Yeah. I don't know what you were doing.
I was just hanging out at the Holiday Inn, There was like nothing for me to do. So I basically got up and just kind of cleaned up, had a little breakfast, and gosh, I don't even know if I had lunch before I went over there.
I don't know what you guys did.
Yeah, I don't
plan lunch for you.
I don't know if I did, because I think I just went straight over and got there a little bit early and, made sure all the groomsmen were there and all that kind of stuff. Luckily, they were all staying at the same hotel, so we just drove over there, and then, that was about it. Like,
so you're saying
nothing crazy, really.
So you're saying much less stressful for the groom on the day of.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Universally, yes.
Good to know.
But the downside of that is if you mess anything up, they're like, you had nothing else to do. So you gotta make sure you get it right.
And plan a lunch. That was key for me to make sure that there was a lunch there, because that was one thing. Somebody told me that in my planning is like, make sure you have a lunch, because it's the one thing that people forget and like goes out the window, and you get to the reception, you're like, oh, I haven't eaten all day.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Somebody brought us something from Whole Foods.
Was that what it was?
Yeah, I think either we went there on the way over to the church. I think that's what it was. Like, because we got up and hung out for a little bit, and then we went over and grabbed that. And I think one of the guys needed to like stop and get socks or something weird like that. So we're like over there and, like TJ Maxx or whatever. So yeah, it was like really casual, but, basically going from food to food and then the church.
Okay.
Yep.
Do you have any more questions? Well, you can ask the question about marriage.
Any advice on marriage? One piece of advice.
What's the best piece of advice someone gave you, or what's the piece of advice you'd like to give us?
Yeah.
We were talking about this the other day, just generally what I would tell somebody, and it's always thank the other person for what they do. Like, we're really good about thank you for taking out the trash, thank you for doing the dishes. Not that it's necessary, but you acknowledge the other person did something, and you acknowledge the work that they do around the house.
And it helps remind you that they are doing things, because if like somebody doesn't do the thing you think they should, but they did 10 other things, it's real easy to ignore the 10 other things unless you consciously like say, hey, thanks for doing that. It's like, oh yeah, that's right. Like, they are doing stuff. Like, it's not just, nothing.
That's a good piece of advice. Thank you.
Very good piece of advice.
Well, that's it.
I don't know why.
That's it. Anything else you'd like to add before we close up?
We're excited for October.
For sure.
So excited.
Absolutely.
We'll bring a new time +1.
Yes.
Yep.
I think that's what it was.
Did we account for that +1?
Yes, I did.
Oh, okay.
I don't think she'll eat much. So
No.
As I say, the honorable Baby Williams already has an RSVP slot. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for coming on. Thank you for the advice. If you want to give me a piece of advice or talk about weddings, you can find me on Twitter. I'm at Mitchipedia GEM. GEM stands for Geek Elite Media. Elizabeth, where can people find you online?
You can find me with the rest of Geek Elite Media at Geek Elite Media and our Facebook page /Geek Elite Media.
Check out archived episodes of this podcast and other podcasts on our website, geekelitemedia.com. And whatever podcatcher you use to listen to us, please rate and review us, because it helps spread the word of our network. Now, last thing, can we get you to sign out with us? All you have to do is say geek out after I say always remember to.
Yep.
Can do.
But until next time, this is Geeking to the Chapel on the Geek Elite Media Network, saying always remember to geek out.
That was terrible.
This concludes our broadcast. Beep.